Welcome to the Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I'm Reverend Lydia Ferrante Roseberry, and I am joined today by intern minister Lisa Moore, service associate Pau Scudder, and musicians Deborah and Petra Mensch, along with our tech ushers, Deborah Mensch is also a tech usher today, along with Mary Stagpole. This is the last day before my 5-month sabbatical. It is bittersweet for me, for sure. But I also know it will be a time of growth not only for me, but also for the congregation. As I say the welcome words today, I invite you to shift into gallery mode if you haven't already done so, and just scroll through the screens and look at the beautiful faces of those who are gathered with you today, because indeed you are this beloved community. And you are all welcome here today. In all the beauty of languages, cultures, skin tones, shapes, and sizes that come together in your uniqueness, you are welcome here. In all the ways you experience and express gender, you are welcome here. In the beauty that is who you love and how you love, you are welcome here. In all the ways you make your living and all the places you are from, you are welcome here. Christian, pagan, humanist, Jew, Buddhist, mystic, Muslim, Unitarian Universalist, with all the traditions that inform your spiritual life, you are welcome here today. No matter how long you are away, nor how soon you will return, you are welcome here. And whether you come with laughter in your heart or with tears, you are welcome here. You are invited to join us with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. We welcome you today. I'll be sharing announcements with our breakout rooms following the service today. If you are new here, we're glad you found us and hope that in this virtual community you can experience the warmth and the love of this congregation. Each Sunday is different here, so please come back a few times to really get to know us. If you do want to get better connected, and I hope you do, please see the chat window for the links to our first-time visitor page, or email your information to our office manager, Carol Pranchke. Her email address will be in the chat window as well. And do be sure to check out our fellowship calendar and the Connections Weekly for more opportunities for how to stay connected. Finally, if any of you newcomers would like to introduce yourselves in the chat, please do so. We just love to hear who is among us. All are invited to stay following the service for our virtual coffee hour or join any offerings and breakout rooms that we'll be having. If you have a chalice at home, you can light it with me now as I light our fellowship chalice. So we know where all the chalices are, please write in the chat, chalice lit in, and then the name of your town. And you can say the words along with me as I light our chalice. We light this chalice for the warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action. And now I invite Joan Mulcahy and Hans Jordan to share with us about what the fellowship means to them.
Good morning. Joan and I have been asked by the Stewardship Committee to talk to you, our community, about what we value in our membership in this community. We discussed it in order not to subject you to a dog and pony show. Joan has agreed to share our thoughts.
Hans and I first visited BVUUF way back in 2001 when the fellowship was meeting in the Masonic Lodge in Boulder. At that time, we knew very little of Unitarian Universalism, but Hans's sister was a UU in Maryland, and he thought that we might try it. So we visited and we were impressed. But as new residents in Colorado with full-time jobs, just about every weekend was spent out exploring our beautiful state. In 2004, we purchased a home in Lafayette, and our weekend activities now included homeowner chores as well as outdoor pursuits. Even so, despite our busyness, we felt the absence of community in our lives. By some lucky coincidence, a few years after we moved to Lafayette, I discovered that the fellowship had also moved to Lafayette. While neither of us would say that this was a sign from above, it did seem appropriate, perhaps even mandatory, to visit once more. So we did, hoping to find a community that would allow us to connect with others, as well as to pause and focus on more than ourselves, a community that would add meaning and depth to our lives. We are still here, over 12 years later. So yes, we found what we were searching for. In fact, we found all that and so much more than we ever imagined. We found a community of people committed to social justice. We found Sunday services that are different each Sunday, services that are challenging and thought-provoking, services that in times of national crisis or personal grief provide solace and hope. We found beautiful music and educational programs for all ages that inspire and are a joy to observe and experience. All of this from our incredibly talented and dedicated staff and from members of our community who share of themselves and their talents each Sunday. And we found all of you, our congregation and now our community, all of you with whom we share a spiritual path and who step up with those willing hands to lead and serve this community in untold numbers of ways. When we first joined, we looked forward to hearing the welcome words each Sunday morning. Now with our Zoom services, we don't hear those words quite so clearly because we are following Reverend Lydia's suggestions and scrolling through all the Zoom boxes. Seeing all of you each week helps keep our sense of community and connection strong. Thank you for being here. With the pandemic, our polarized political climate, the threats to democracy, and the repeated injustice that marginalized groups experience in our country, the words that speak to us most clearly each week are our chalice lighting words. The warmth of love, the light of truth, and the energy of action remind us not only of the benefits we receive as members of this congregation, but also they challenge and inspire us to take an active part in healing our world. These are the reasons that we pledge each week and what the fellowship means to us.
Thank you so much, Joan and Hans. Your membership means so much to me, and I've appreciated all the ways you have contributed and just brought yourself into the life of the fellowship over all these years. So we're still in our pledge drive, and it continues with the latest tally of 69 pledges in. Thank you very much, for a total of $197,000. So that's really great. I'm so grateful to everybody who's pledged already. Our pledge goal this year, however, is $489,000. So we still have a ways to go, and more than half of you who haven't pledged. We are closing in on a year of Zoom services with more limited activities at the fellowship. But we are still together. And as Hans and Joan said, just seeing everybody in their little boxes every Sunday can just be a form of community. And our staff is still working hard to provide what we can and plan for the day when we'll be back in the fellowship building. Tad is looking forward to building a musical event program. Jessica can't wait to finally be able to build a lifespan faith formation program for all ages. And Carol and Sue are busy in the office keeping things running smoothly and getting the building ready to open. And our future really does depend upon your pledges. Now, I'm going to be going on sabbatical, as you know, so hopefully this year's pledge drive won't keep me up at night. And with your speedy return of pledges, You can also help our dedicated pledge team and finance committee sleep well too. So please get your pledges in, and we will bring the next year of this fellowship's life to be. Now I'll sing our bowl again, and I invite it to draw you deeper into the present moment and to this, our beloved community. Following the bowl, we'll have about a minute of silence together. Now I invite you to join me in singing We Laugh, We Cry, along with Tad Coriath on piano and Deborah Mensch on vocals.
We laugh, we cry, we live, we die, we dance, we sing our song. We need to feel there's something here to which we can belong. We need to feel the freedom just to have some time alone. But most of all, we need close friends we can call our very own. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a need to be together. We have our hearts to give, we have our thoughts to receive, and we believe that sharing is an answer. We seek elusive answers to the questions of this life. We seek to put an end to all the waste of human strife. We search for truth, equality, and blessed peace of mind. And then we come together here to make sense of what we find. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a joy being together. And in our search for peace, maybe we'll finally see, even to question truly is an answer.
We begin with the words of David White. As his website says, David White's writing explores the timeless relationship of human beings to their world, to creation, to others, and to the end of his life. In his book, Essential, he writes, "A fugitive little rowboat in a river under a tree seemed to me to represent the deeply human need to creatively and subversively disappear, to turn away from the overlighted human world and not be found, so that we can actually catch up with ourselves and reappear in the world again, more as we intuit, possibly reimagined, invigorated, regrown, and rested. Today, as we say farewell to Reverend Lydia before her 5-month sabbatical, we'll explore the nature or the natural flow of human relationships.
It's really hard to believe that this is my last Sunday among you for a while. And I'd be lying if I told you I wasn't looking forward to this time to turn away from the overlighted, always on ways that I've been accustomed to. So it's not about you, really. And as I use my sabbatical from 2012-13 as a marker, I can see how the river behind me has incrementally flowed faster and faster with fewer and fewer eddies to stop and catch my breath in these last 8 years. Our own building project, complete with its own twists and turns, coincided with the unraveling of our democracy, or almost unraveling of our democracies at the hands of a white supremacist president, which spurred a much needed resurgence of the anti-racism movement. This was all slathered in the pandemic of the last year, with technology offering us a 24/7 capacity to remain hooked in. And I was. So I'm looking forward to this time to catch up with myself. And I can see that it's going to be even harder this time around to resist the current of life's frenetic flow. And with all this great technology we have to keep us hooked in all the time. And I also realize that 8 years later, after 14 years, I really love you so deeply. But I also firmly believe that this ever increasing pace is not good for our souls as individuals and as a society. And as a person called to be a spiritual leader, remaining connected to my soul is paramount for my effective leadership. I'll be spending most of these next 5 months right here at home, reconnecting to the ordinary. But I'm approaching these 5 months as I would my fantasy road trip. Pack light, with only a vague direction in mind, and opening myself up to what catches my eye along the way. I'm going to be starting next week with a short retreat at a friend's house. I'll bring a few books, my hiking shoes, materials to make a soul collage, and lots of time to stare out the window. After that, not much is on the horizon, but I will confess that I'm struggling to balance a growing to-do list that's spinning in my head with the desire to put down the mantle of productivity and really go at the pace of my soul. I'm hoping to marry those somehow in these next 5 months. But no matter what happens, I expect to return to you in August, possibly reimagined, reinvigorated, regrown, and definitely rested. So at the same time, it really is bittersweet knowing we'll be apart for 5 months. The parting conversations that I've had with some of you have reminded me that a lot can happen in 5 months. There are quite a few changes afoot in some of your lives. Now, but what else could I expect? To expect that there would be no change would be to deny the essence of life. And frankly, it would take some of the excitement out of this very special time. I have no doubt this will be a time of growth, not only for me, but for you as individuals and as a congregation. And I also know that no separation actually ties everything up neatly in a bow. And I won't have tied everything up neatly before I go. So I'm apologizing in advance to all of you who are left doing something that you may not have thought you were going to need to do in the next 5 months. So there's my mea culpa in advance. Now, okay, this is where I'm going to start to mix metaphors. So are you ready for a little bit of a shift? In the dance of life, how could I have a last sermon without talking about a dance? In the dance of life, separation, like we are doing, is one of the 5 main moves that are identified in attachment theory. Attachment theory is the work of the 1950s British psychoanalyst John Bowlby, and he was the first to explore how relationships impact developmental psychology. Previous to that, interior drivers were the main focus of this field. So think Freud. But Bowlby's research noticed, he was looking at primates, and he noticed that they need a primary caregiver to survive, not only for food, but also security. Psychologists marry, and not just security as in from real threats, but the feelings of security. Psychologist Mary Salter Ainsworth, who worked briefly as Bowlby's research assistant, brought his theories to life. Ainsworth did cross-cultural studies with humans in Uganda and then Baltimore, observational studies. And she worked to assess relational sensitivity in human families, particularly in mothers and babies, or the emotional attunement that happens in families, especially at that moment of life. Later scientific studies have revealed that we humans have mirror neurons that function without our conscious awareness to help us get and remain attuned to one another. And these researchers noticed the fundamental patterns of movement contained in our primary relationships. In basic terms, they are leading, following, blending, change or rupture, and restoring, reconnecting, or repair as the last one. That's the dance. Think about it. In all of our partnerships, our family relationships, our friends, our professional relationships, all day long when we are relating to people, we're either leading, using our own free will, our personal agency, or following, allowing someone else to lead by going along with them. Or melding, that's that beautiful place of flow when we don't know exactly who's leading and who's following. Or change, or rupture, separation. Perhaps that's the hardest one, though so necessary for growth and for free will. And then the most important, reconnecting, or repair if that change has caused pain. And oftentimes, almost any change has a bit of loss in it. And so the reconnecting is a really important part of any relationship. I see this as the dance around between people and communities as well. There's a constant flow of leading and following, of coming and going, of separating and reconnecting. Some of you have done that with this fellowship as well, coming and going over the years as your needs and shifts have changed. Now, what I recognize is not all of us had healthy family relationships to instill these patterns in us. And the separation, so that separating and connecting can be pretty difficult. And while some change falls in the natural course of development, like partnering or moving away in a family system, some change truly is a traumatic rupture, like a parent dying early in one's life. And those things can be very difficult, if not impossible, to fully heal without the willingness of all involved. But here's the gift. In a covenanted community, we can find ways to move apart and then back together with grace and love, perhaps repatterning or even healing some past traumatic breaks in relationships we've had in our lives. Here at the fellowship, we mean it when we say, no matter how long you are away, you are welcome here. And actually, it was Ellen Lavender who put those words into our welcome at the return of my last sabbatical in 2013. So today, we'll be practicing healthy separation. I'll be leaving. It really will be a full separation, not for lack of love, nor lack of a deep soul connection, but for my own self-discovery, to journey in a new way that I cannot do while we are flowing together down the river of life. I'll return in August and we'll reconnect, each having changed and grown, ready to dance again. May this time for all of us be beautiful, fruitful, and healing. Blessed be.
Each week, we remind ourselves of the abundance of our lives and this community by giving one half of our plate away to those organizations that share our values. Today, we share our plate with the NAACP of Boulder County. Founded in 2017, the Boulder chapter of the NAACP quickly became an active change agent in our community. Many of our members are actively involved in committees like the Religious Affairs, Education, Civic Engagement, and Housing. The Boulder County NAACP maintains a list of Black-owned businesses on their website as well. Please give generously to their mission to ensure the political, educational, social, and economic equality of rights of all persons and to eliminate race-based discrimination. After you've made your donation, you are invited to share in the chat.
And now we sing.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Boy, I love reading what all of you write in the chat during these questions. It's one of the most beautiful moments of our service for me. I'm going to invite us into a time of continued community connection, the time of our sacred sharing of joys and concerns. So if you have something you'd like to share, please raise your hand by clicking the reactions button at the bottom of your screen. And if you don't see it, then clicking raise hand and Tech Usher will unmute you. Oh, click more. Sometimes you have to click more if you don't see it. And then click raise hand. And Tech Usher Deborah will unmute you. Or you may see a pop-up window asking you to unmute yourself. If you prefer, you can share a joy or concern in the chat window by sending a chat to everyone. And then I'll read out loud what you send. Beloveds, Octavia Butler writes, all that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. The only lasting truth is change. God is change. Octavia Butler is a science fiction writer and one of National Public Radio's highlighted Black visionaries imagining new worlds. So today, even as we are parting, let us imagine a new world together. A new world that comes when we are not afraid of change, when we embrace the diversity and widen our circle of concern, embracing more and more of the beauty of life's creation with each breath we take. Let us cry out together with the outrage of racism, sexism, homophobia, and transphobia. Let us bring in the differently abled, the neuroatypical, the disenfranchised, and with our eyes full of love, see the array of gifts that each being brings. Let us leave each other today joined in our vision for a more beautiful world. And even when I am not with you, I will be praying for and with you, setting intentions for ease, love, and grace and justice in these coming months. By all of our acts of love, we create the beloved community, no matter where we are. May it be so.
Good morning, BVUUF. I'm Paul Austin, and I am going to lead the departure ritual this morning. I'm also a member of COSUM and the sabbatical committee. As the Yugoslavian proverb says, a good rest is half the work. Sabbatical leave is a tradition for Unitarian Universalist clergy. The extended time away for study, reflection, rest, and renewal are all ingredients for effective ministry. Today, on behalf of the sabbatical team, in deep gratitude and warm gentleness, we bless this season of sabbatical with the departure ritual. Reverend Lydia's sabbatical is a time for a complete break from the roles and responsibilities of her ministry at Boulder Valley. To protect the integrity of her leave, we politely request that congregants avoid contacting Lydia for any reason during the sabbatical period. We will respect her special time away by avoiding discussion of congregational issues or personal problems in person, by phone, or by email. Our fellowship has a long history of shared ministry and shared leadership, and we believe that all members are called upon to serve one another and their religious community. We also express our deepest appreciation for our office manager, Carol Pranschke, and our director of Lifespan Faith Formation, Jessica Lakeman, for their willing hands. We've built some honoraria into the budget to recognize their extra responsibilities during this time. Thank you so much, Carol and Jessica. Reverend Lydia's sabbatical is also a time to draw on our strengths as a congregation, a time for personal and institutional growth, and an opportunity for renewal and commitment to the fellowship. The link to our sabbatical webpage is going into the chat now, and you can find information there about whom to contact with questions that might arise during the sabbatical. Now I invite Reverend Lydia to share some words with us.
Well, I want to thank you, this beloved community, members and friends alike, for the love, the kindness, and support that you've given me during these past 14 years. I'm grateful for the ways that my leadership has been shaped and has been stretched by you. As I go on sabbatical, I will carry with me all that I have learned, and I commit to returning to the fellowship with rekindled energy and direction, so that I may minister to the full range of human joy and human sorrow, so that I may celebrate the principles of our faith and fulfill my own ministry with integrity, courage, and wonder. I am going to miss you.
This is Nancy Delora, President of our congregation. On behalf of all of us of Boulder Valley Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, we accept and affirm Reverend Lydia's sabbatical leave, and we are grateful for her years of visionary ministry to us. Even though she will be away, her influence will not leave us. We give Reverend Lydia our full blessing and support, and we pledge ourselves to be bonded by peace with truth, respect, and love. I now invite the entire congregation to unmute and to repeat after me, and I'll say this first and then you will repeat. We release Reverend Lydia with delight.
Yeah, something to say. Steve.
We
Release Reverend Lydia with delight.
Well, that was great. We are thankful to have intern Minister Lisa Moore increasing from half-time to full-time to provide extra ministerial support. As we assume the mantle of a teaching congregation, it is up to each of us to offer Lisa support and compassion as she grows into the visionary faith leader she is called to be. During Reverend Lydia's sabbatical, Lisa will be generously giving her time, wisdom, and compassion to our community. We enter now a covenant with Lisa to join with her and support her during this time.
Mindful of these great obligations, I freely and enthusiastically take up this time of shared ministry. With your help and grace, we shall thrive.
On behalf of the congregation, we affirm this sacred responsibility to Lisa and appreciate the time, energy, and love she will be gifting us in the coming months. Please unmute yourself and repeat after me. Lisa, we embrace you in your new role.
Lisa,
we embrace you in your new role.
Yay.
Spirit of life and love, we have been moved by Reverend Lydia's presence and faithful work. We are grateful for her special gifts, which she will take with her to come back to us renewed and rested. Spirit of life and love, as a congregation, we enter into the sabbatical season alongside Lisa, the Boulder Valley staff, and one another with humility, compassion, openness, and curiosity. May there be joy in the work to come, and may expressions of gratitude and appreciation flow freely. And now we invite Reverend Lydia to give our fellowship chalice to Lisa.
I hope you all enjoyed that as much as we enjoyed making it. Now what? Let's see.
So now I was still giggling a little bit myself here. And dear ones, the chalice is a symbol of our UU history and heritage. And when we light our chalice, it brings us into a moment of mindfulness of the sacred time and space we are creating. So from my understanding, oftentimes the fellowship chalice was moved from moved to the service leader studio when Reverend Lydia was not part of the service. Because Studio 2 is not conveniently located close to the ship's chalice will reside here with me at Studio 2 during Reverend Lydia's sabbatical. But the fellowship chalice is no more sacred than any chalice that we have. The size, shape, materials used, or even the flame lit is not what imbues power in a chalice. It is the intent we put within it that makes our chalices sacred. That being said, I invite you now to join me in a blessing of chalices, those that our service leaders and associates will be using on Sundays, and also all of your chalices at home, in your own homes, so that when you light your chalices and you put in the chat box chalice lit in, you also remember and be mindful of the sacredness of the space that you are creating. I have a couple extra chalices here just to kind of show you some of the different ones that we might have. I'll put them next to some little tiny chalice with the electric light. The chalice that I use oftentimes in my own home. And this chalice that I made for an art project for the class associated with my internship. So if you'd like, please join me with these words. Chalice, we honor and bless you. Thank you for helping us create and recognize the sacred time, space, and action happening when we light your flame. We bless our chalice and all the chalices that are a part of our beautiful fellowship. In the words of Octavia Butler, so be it and see to it. Amen and blessed be. And now I invite you to sing along with Tad and Emily to the song, Let It Be a Dance.
Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with singing birds. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. Feel the rhythm, feel the need. To reap the harvest, plant the seed. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Everybody turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend. And like a willow with the wind, let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. A child is born, the old must die. A time for joy, a time to cry. Take it as it passes by. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. The morning star comes out at night. Without the dark there is no light. If nothing's wrong, then nothing's right. Let it be a dance. Let
have a couple of announcements. After the service breakout, we have the after service breakout rooms. There'll be one with Reverend Lydia and myself. We also have the Inquirer series happening, so you can learn about our lifespan faith formation programs with Jessica Lakeman. And then this afternoon at 4 p.m., we will you can learn about our immigration issues while supporting the Boulder County Sanctuary Coalition and joining in the viewing of the documentary, The Undocumented Lawyer. And there should be some information pasted into the chat for that. Now we will extinguish our chalices, all sacred and blessed. We extinguish the chalice, but not the warmth of love, the light of truth, nor the energy of action. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. Dear ones, go forth honoring Lydia's sabbatical and creating time and space for your own rest and rejuvenation. Because the work we do can sometimes be long and heavy, and being away from each other can leave us a little more weary. Know that the time will be ending and we will be together for hugs and for laughter and dancing. Blessed be and amen.